you the decision notes, they give you the notes, and then other things just use connectors.
All right, guys, welcome back. We're live. It's WEBD6201 in the winter 2022 semester at Durham, and it's week 8, part 2 of our broadcast and time together. And today we have a very challenging schedule, and the velocity that we're going to go is going to be a little bit quicker, I think, but we'll not go that quick that you can't get it. So again, we talked about last time how we develop stuff with TypeScript this day, and a couple of things, a reminder for you guys. ICE 8, it's been moved to Saturdays, so that means stuff we're doing today is due tomorrow. Test 3, if you haven't had a chance to do it, 7.5% of your final grade. A second reminder, please make sure you get it done. It's due tomorrow at midnight. Lab 3, where I've just put up the starter. The starter that includes everything you need based on the stuff we did today. It's using TypeScript. It's due next week, next Sunday at midnight. Someone asked earlier today, do I have to use the starter? Yes, you have to use the starter, right? Can I use my old files? Can I base it on the stuff that I did before? No, you cannot. You need to use the starter. Please do not base it on other files. It must be the starter. That's part of the challenge of Lab 3, all right? So please, if you have any questions, if you haven't started looking at it yet, please look at Lab 3. Look at putting it together. I think most of it can be started right away. Okay, so that's where we were. We're sitting at, again, like week 8. Next week we're going to start Node. And without further ado, let's get to it. So last time we left off, we had a bit of issues. So I'm just reading Sam's. It's probably because it's not working, Sam. All right, I'll let you know. Well, let's talk after. All right, so yeah. Lots of red still, but the reason why we have lots of red is because there's stuff that we missed. So again, we're converting from JavaScript to TypeScript. I'm just going to maximize here. Let's start at the top again. So we're starting off at the AJAX request. Okay, so just for today, let's get rid of this thing. We already have the AJAX request. We've worked with it. We played with it. We know what it is. It's from previous times. And now we're going to work on new stuff. So AJAX request is goodbye. Load header. Okay, that's fine. It looks okay. So far, so good. Let's keep going. Load content. So far, looks okay. Load footer. That's okay. Display home is okay. Display about page, project page, services page. All that stuff is good. Add contact. That's okay. Right? So far. We can see that. And then we get to validate field. That looks good. Contact form validation. That looks good. And now we get into some interesting problems. We're at display contact page. Do we have some problem over here? Is that what you're saying? Oh, here. We're going to fix this problem. No, we're not using no any's. Any's not allowed, right? So the way to fix this, right, instead of using any, let's not use any. Let's make it a string. And of course, it's not going to work because it's like, wait, string, but this is not a string. We can't guarantee it says that it's going to be a string. Guess what we can do, guys? As string, right? Done, right? Because we know that it's going to be a string. We're going to use as everywhere, all right? Wherever we need to, right? Nice and easy. All right, but we're not going to make any. Any's bad. Any's bad because it'll propagate as any throughout the entire code. This way it's a string. Display contact page. Okay, we're down to this send button, add event listener, and it says send button. It says that possibly null. Well, how do we fix that problem? Well, because that when we do a document dot something, we don't know what we're getting. We may not get anything, but we know we're getting something because we're being sent here by the router, right? So therefore, we can do this. We can say as HTML element, which solves that problem. But the subscribe checkbox, even if it's an HTML element, it doesn't have a checkbox in it. So we can just say as HTML input element, which is something we can put in there, and that fixes that problem. Okay? So far, so good. And I know these you might say, well, this is not really fixing the problem, but no, but actually it is fixing the problem, right? Because what it's doing is it's basically allowing us to move forward, and it's computing. So if I kind of hover over checked, it literally says that, sets or retrieves the state of the checkbox. If it gives me that feedback, I'm good to go. This can never work because we're making some assumptions. The assumption that we're making is that we have a form, right? And JavaScript or TypeScript doesn't like that. So we're going to do something like this. We're going to say let full name equals to document dot forms 0. Remember form 0? Document, all documents have a form element. Form 0 is the first form. Form 0 dot full name dot value as string. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a bunch of these. Let's do this a bunch of times. So copy, paste a couple times, and we're going to say it's not just full name. We don't need to do value anymore over here, but also contact number. And we want to make sure we copy paste, guys, to avoid errors as much as possible, okay? Like finger typing errors here. And then email address. And then that solves that issue. Make sense? Because we don't really know that there is a full name, contact number, email address, all that stuff. We have no idea that they really exist. That's why TypeScript's complaining. Continue. Display contact list page. Awesome. We're going to go down to this part right here where it says let contact is equal to core contact data. It says that it's getting a key, and contact data says it could be string or null. Okay, it could be string or null, but it's not. Right? And we're going to move on down to this part. Contact list.inner.html. It says contact list. It could be an HTML or null element. Well, that means that up here where it says contact list, right? So where is that contact list? It's way up here. Get element by ID as HTML element. We're casting it. Right? There's nothing wrong with it. It's just what it does, it basically signals, it's giving signals to TypeScript that it is what it is, right? But we're not using, the good thing is we're not using anywhere as much as possible. Okay, this is the exact same as we had before. Let's go skip up there and grab those 3 lines of code right here, this part. It's in another form, so that's why we can do this. Eventually we would refactor potentially and remove those, but we're not going to do that here. We're just making it work, remember? Make it work, then refactor. So this is the first part, and we just remove the values. Local storage get item as string, because it doesn't know what it is. Could be a string. Okay, contact full name, and then it says contact full name, contact all this kind of stuff. What's the problem here? So it says that, okay, so contact itself, right, as an example, and it says these things have to be strings, right? So as string, because value, we're just casting. You can also cast a toString, but I'd rather do just as string, because we know it is a string, and there's no point making TypeScript work so hard. Okay, scrolling down. Username and password. Okay, that's very similar to what we did earlier. So I'm just going to grab these, only 2 of these lines. Only 2 of these. And we're going to jump down to that point where we had that problem. And just in that, before the for loop, right? We don't want to do it in the for loop. Come on, that's a little insane, right? But somewhere up here, I want to, outside of the Ajax function, maybe, or even something like that, as long as we get access to those things. And we don't want to we want to use username here and here. And we want to use password here and here. And then we want to remove value from here. Okay. And then we have new user serialize as string. Right? And if you scroll down, no more errors. We're error-free. TypeScript is app.js got converted to TypeScript. Any problem on your end? Do you see my techniques? As string, as HTML element, as HTML input element. You're just telling TypeScript what it is, so it knows what it is down the pipe, right? That's what you're doing. You're still casting, and that's the good thing that you're doing. Okay, so these are all the changes. We're going to say git add dot, git commit -m. We'll say updated or converted app.js to TS. And we're good. Now we're going to deal with that other problem. So now we should be able to test everything out. And if you go up online, there shouldn't be any errors. If I go to this now, we should be able to go to every site, no problem, just like before. And we should be able to go to show contact list. All the same functionality that we had before. As an example, should be working with the TypeScript version compared to the other version that we had before. Okay, so the JavaScript version. So this is all good. It looks good as an example, and we can log in, log out, register, all that stuff. But guess what? We want to put this up on GitHub. And this second today, what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the next level. So here's my strategy. Instead of letting TypeScript do its thing, the reason why GitHub is a problem is because you're trying to navigate to a page that doesn't exist. And the way we're navigating is href tags, right? So what I want to do is trap all the links on my entire site and control them manually. Every link, navbars, buttons, link items, everything everywhere, all right, that we want to trap. That's going to be my strategy for today, and that's how your Lab 3 starter is set up. All right, so that's what we're going to do. And then we're going to, at the end, we're going to put all this up on GitHub and prove to you that we can navigate from one site to the, or one part of the next. Now, it's not fully going to work, and I'll explain that when we get there. But let's move it. We have a lot of stuff to do. We've already wasted 12 minutes doing that part. So let's get back to this. So hopefully you guys are all good. Are you guys with me? Hopefully you are. Okay, hopefully you are. Good thing is it's being recorded, and you have access to everything online. Okay, so what we're going to start with, we're going to close app.ts down for now, and we're going to go start with our router. And this is our starting point. So what I want to do here with our router is, I'm just going to explain it to you first. I want to add a new property, and I want to add a new property in our router called m_link data. So why do I need link data as well as active link? Well, because imagine when we go to that add edit page, I want to pass the value, right? The key of my local storage to the next page. How do I do that? If I'm trapping links, if I'm doing it myself, there's no href anymore, right? Imagine this. How do I do that? How do I pass information? I need some kind of vehicle, and link data is going to be where I'm going to store it. All right, so that's the first part. The next thing is I want getters and setters for that. So let's copy paste this, and we'll just call this link data. Okay, link data. Make sure you change the return type to link data, m_link data. And it's not going to be a link, but rather data. That's going to be a string. And this should be link data here. Okay, but we still have a problem in the constructor function. It needs to be initialized, so let's do that here. And router is done. That's how we have to set up a router. We just wanted to add an extra property. That's all I did. Okay, let's put that up on GitHub. So again, going back here. Well, going back here. Make sure you're, by the way, please make sure that you are transpiling. Please make sure you're transpiling, okay? Remember, when we're transpiling, whenever we start TypeScript, it's Control-Shift-B. Control-Shift-B. If you don't do that, it's never going to work, all right? Make sure you transpile. All right, so again, if you haven't transpiled, and if you try it, and if it's not, it'll never work properly, right? So make sure you transpile, okay?
You want to get a blank page
There you go. That's the why. That's the reason, right? So make sure you do that. All right, and let's get rid of this now, and let's put this up on GitHub. So we're going to say git add dot, git commit -m, and we'll say updated router.js, git push. All right, nice. Next, now that my router's changed, a couple things. We're never ever going to use our auth guard anymore, not like this. The reason why we can't use our auth guard is because we're never going to link to anything. Or there's no more linking, there's no more moving from one page to the other page. We're not even going to use hrefs anymore. So auth guard makes no sense. So, but we're still going to use the code from it. You'll see where. But in my index.html, let's just remove the reference to the auth guard at the bottom of the top part of the, or the bottom of the header, the head. So auth guard has been changed. Gone. Goodbye. Next, we're going to change all of the content views. Let's do that. So first, we'll start in components. And I'll talk about how we're going to do this. We have a bunch of hrefs, yeah? We need to change all these hrefs to data attributes. Let's do that. So Control F, we're going to look for href, right? And we're going to change it to replace with data, please, and replace them all. But we don't need any forward slashes. Let's get rid of them. Do that manually, please. No more forward slashes, because we're going to have a sanitized link. So without the href, a nav is not a nav, right? When you hover over it with your button, with your mouse, it's going to give you a weird, different mouse cursor than a pointer. We need to account for that later on, and I'll talk about that later. So that's the first part. We're modifying header. We modified index.html. We modified our header. Let's do the rest of them. Every single page we need to look at. Okay, so content. Do I care about my 404? No. How about my about page? No. How about my contact list page? No. How about my contact page? Yes. And my contact page at the bottom has a link that's an href. So we're going to go to here and change this to data. And this is going to be contact-list. I'm also going to add in a class whenever I have, so there's a difference between a nav link and a regular link. The regular link is going to be a link or a button. The nav link is going to be something totally different, right? Because that's going to be updating, it's going to be highlighting, lots of different things. So here I'm just going to call this a link. It's okay. No problem. And then that's contact. Edit. Do I have to change anything in edit? No. Home? No. Right? Login? Yes. Login, at the bottom of login, there is this reference to register. Let's change it. So we'll say data. We'll remove the slash. We'll add a class, which we'll call it link. Okay? And we're doing this because, again, we want to be able to identify our anchor tag specifically. Okay? Next, we're going to go to register. Register all the way down to the bottom. It's like the opposite of login, right? So we're going to have changes to data. Move this to slash, add a class. Add a class. Link. Save. Services, no. So everything else has been done. All my content pages and my view template has all been changed up to GitHub. Arg. Okay, do you understand what I'm doing? We can't have links anywhere, period, the end. If we have links, it's going to break on GitHub because it's going to try and go somewhere. And GitHub is going to say, wait, you're going to about.html, is that what you want? Oh, 404. Right? That's not obviously what we're doing, but GitHub is going to see it's like an Apache server that it kind of as a default, the link is either an HTML or an HTML. So it's kind of pushing that onto you anyway, whether you like it or not. All right, so that's the first thing. Now that we've changed all those, now it's time to start making some real changes. This is where the heart and soul of everything goes, inside of my scripts folder, inside of my app.ts. Nothing else changes. No other file, no other script, just app.ts. And there's some pain here, okay? But we're going to talk about it so you understand. At the top of app.ts, we're going to scroll down, and just before the load header function, we're going to add in a few new utility functions, starting at the top. The first one is authguard, believe it or not. So we took it away, and now we're putting it back. Why? Because it makes sense to put it back, because what we want to do with the authguard function, right, function authguard, is it's returning void, is we want to be able to invoke it, right, when we need to. Right? And what I mean by that is just like we've done before. So let's borrow the script from within it, right? So that we can use the same structure, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We already have an authguard. So go over to authguard.ts, grab everything inside of the IFE, and then go back to the app.ts and paste it in there. And the only thing we need to change is at the bottom, there's no href. Right? We're going to change this to something new, which is router.activeLink, right, is equal to just login, no slash. Okay? And we're going to say, instead of redirecting, we're going to say, so check if user's logged in. But what if not, then what we want to do is change the active link to login. Because that's going to redirect us to the login page. That's what it's going to do, right? Save. So that's the first function, authguard. Next, and this is our workhorse. I'm going to talk about the workhorse function we're going to make right now. And the workhorse function is going to be named load link. This is our link catcher, or our trap, if you will. Load link. Load link is going to have two parameters, a string, as well as the data parameter that we're going to pass around. And it's going to return void. I'm going to make the data parameter defaulted to a null string, an empty string. And what we're going to say at the beginning is router.activeLink is equal to link. So this is where we're going to get the link from. So when I call load link is going to replace every instance of href. Anytime we see href anything, it's going to be load link. Okay? That's going to be our trap. And then, after load link, we're going to call authguard. Why? Let's think about the logic here, okay? My link, the link itself is contact list, let's suppose, right? Contact list is going to call authguard, right? It's going to go over here. It's going to say, hey, does the active link, which is contact list, is that in the protected routes? Yes, it is. Cool. Is the user logged in? No. Change the active link back to login, please. So it's never going to show the contact list page because it's going to change the active link here. And then we're going to do other stuff. After we've done that, we've checked, we'll maintain the router.link data. We'll say that that's equal to data, if there's any. And we're going to do a new thing, the history.pushState, where we're going to say that the first part of the history is null, the second part is an empty string, and the third part is our router.activeLink. So what the heck is push state? Well, I showed you part of this already. The history object, what it does is it attacks the URL in the browser. So your browser URL gets swapped out, smoke and mirrors. It's going to look as if you are actually on that place, but you're not. It's going to show the user which link you're on, but it's not really moving there. Okay, so it's going to, that's the trick. So it's the history push state that we're doing. The first part of, if you hover over push state itself, it's looking for data. Well, we're not passing across any data. Unused, unused. This is not even used. Another little link there that one day might be used by JavaScript. Who knows, right? In a future iteration. Nothing, and it's always going to be nothing. And then URL, whatever the URL is, which is our active link. Okay, that's how it works. And that's our little trick. Next, we're going to capitalize everything. We're going to go just skimmy down here to the load header. And I'm going to remove that whole capitalization and making things active link over here from the load header. I'm going to cut that out from there. Please take it out of there. And let's go into the load link and pop it in there. So why in here? Because we've just finished loading our link. And I want to make sure that we capitalize our stuff and put the title where it's supposed to go. That's what we're doing. So this capitalizes, right? Capitalize the the router active link, and set the title to it, whatever that is. That's what this does, right? The document.title, and then we're going to use the document.title to set the whatever is list item that contains an anchor tag that has the document title within it, that whole trick we did last time, as active. All right, that's cool. And then after that, or between those two things, right, I want to do a couple of things. I want to say that let's first remove all active links, though. Why do I have to remove all active links before I mark one as active? I want you to think about the logic that I'm trying to do here. Question for you. Are we ever refreshing the page? Ever. From now on? No. We're never refreshing the page. And that comes with its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages, we have the data. The pages, I have all the data from the page all the time, right? Disadvantage, if I mark something, I have to unmark it. If I have to modify something, I have to unmodify it, right? And it's better to unmodify first and then modify after, right? As much as possible. So that's what I got to do. I got to say, hey, jQuery, I want you to find me all links that are inside of list items that are inside of ULs. That means this is the nav link, all nav links. And I want to, for each one of those ones, I want to do the following. I want you, right, to get the links that are returned. That's this thing. And I want to remove the class. I want to remove the class that is tagged as active. So no active class, please, at all. Thank you. And now, after we remove the links, we add the link back. This one right here basically add a class of active to the active link, whatever one I'm supposed to be on. And this, my friends, is the beautiful thing. Here, watch this. This is the main thing. I'm going to load content now for the first time. So now load content, I've wrapped load content inside of my load link. Load link does all its business first, highlights, does whatever dance it needs to do, whatever, then loads the content, right? And that's a better way to do it because I have strict control over when things are happening. Remember, load content also has a AJAX call inside of it that's going to load the link content. Make sense? So that is my next function. So again, I have authguard and I have load link, and load link uses authguard. Next. And this one you might like, you might not. Add navigation events. Okay, what the heck is this one? Well, remember, right, that we have to make the navigator look like we're actually on a clickable area. We don't have any links. We have to fool the user to think that there are. So we're going to create a Nav Links Reference, and we're going to use this kind of query that we did earlier, this one here, copy it, and put it here. All right, we're going to say, okay, that's what this, we're going to get all the links here. So this is find all navigation links. That's what this does. And then we're going to say something like, okay, I want to remove right? Remove navigation events. Why? Remember I said that? Nav links dot off, that's how you remove. Click any click event that's been tied to a nav link, I want to remove it. Any mouse event, mouse over event that I tie to a nav link, I want to remove it. Why? Because if I don't, so what's going to happen is if I use the on keyword, what I'm actually doing is I'm using add event listener. So think about what's happening. I'm never refreshing the page, and I add an event listener. Then I click somewhere else, and then I add an event listener. And I keep adding event listeners forever. What that's going to do is it's going to fill up the event queue. I'm going to have more and more event listeners, and more and more and more. And pretty soon your page is going to be like not moving. It won't even move. Nothing will happen. Because there's so many stacks, it's going to keep on compounding all these events. And the first one is going to add one event. The second time is going to add two events. The next time after that is going to add 3 events, and 4 events, and 8 events, and it's going to keep going for crazy. So we need to remove them before we add them. So if they exist, remove them. That's what we're doing here. Next, I want to loop through each navigation link and load appropriate content on click, whatever that is. So let's think about what that is. Hey, nav links on click. I want to, and this is a beautiful thing here, load link. What am I loading? I'm going to pass in a reference to whatever I'm getting, this, and I'm going to get the attribute from the data attribute that I've put into place, whatever that data attribute is holding. And of course, I want to cast whatever I'm getting as a string. Yeah, let's analyze this for a second. Hey, jQuery, find all the navigation links. When I click on any one of them, add an event listener to all of them. That's what I'm saying, every one of them, right? And after I add an event listener to all of them, I want you to, when someone clicks on any one of these, I want you to load the link that is tied to the data attribute. Remember that data attribute that I replaced the href with? It has access to whatever that link is called, right? I want you to load that link. That's what I'm saying, okay? Remember, load link also loads the content, right? All right, so that's what this does. And then I want to make my navbar look like a navbar. Make the navigation links look like they are clickable, because otherwise they won't, right? And by the way, to show you this before we move on, all right, just to show you this, if I go back to my page, my live page for a second, if I go here, take a look what it looks like. They work, but look at my cursor. It's kind of like a selection cursor, not a clickable cursor. It's not something like a hand like this, right? That's what I want. I want those things here, right? So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to tell it to do that. I'm going to say, hey, nav links. I want to, on mouse over, I want to call a function. And that function that I want to call, I want to say, whatever this function returns, I want to add some CSS where I can say that the cursor, I want to change the cursor style to a pointer. Was there a hand back there? You guys okay so far? So cursor style to a pointer. So that means that if I go back to that page now, and if I hover over, take a look. Now if everything goes well, right, when I'm going here, my cursor should change to a pointer. How come it's not working? I never called this function. This function's never been called. Look how it's grayed out, right?
It's changing to a pointer on the icon, but not the text.
That's the point. All right, so nav link is done. This add navigation events. Okay, so that is good. I like that function. That's nice, right? And the last one is kind of a controversial function. And I mean that as in, do we really need this one? Can I do without it? Can I recode this one to make it better? And it's add link events. And I'm going to pass in the link and the string. So why this? Well, I can't make it the same as my navigation links. It's this one is for links that are in the page, but maybe buttons, something else that I want, right? So I need that kind of thing too. Now, it's going to be very similar to what we see, but with some modifications. Let me explain. So we're going to start off and we're going to say, let link query. We're going to say that is equal to, hey jQuery, I want to use a template string where I'm going to find the all anchor tags that also have a class of link. And then they also have a data attribute, right, that contains, and this is where I'm going to I'm going to interpolate the link that I get from the parameter in here. And it's an ugly little thing, but I want you to take a look at that. That's the query. So it's saying, hey, anchor tags. I want you to get all anchor tags that have a link class. Remember that class of link that I added in for those couple of links? And also, I want to make sure that that data I'm looking for is a specific thing that I'm looking for. Why? Because if I was to specify something else, just data, it'll pick up the links on the top too. Because they have data, right? So I don't want that. I want to specifically just look at that one thing. And later on, I've coded this way so I can, later on, maybe I'll use it for everything. Right? Right now, I'm not going to use it for everything. I'm just using it for this one. Okay? Okay, so now I want to do some stuff. I want to remove all link events. What else do I want to do? Same kind of stuff. I want to add CSS to adjust the link aesthetic, which means make it look like a link, and then add link events back in. Those are the things I want to do. A little bit of pseudocode. So let's go, hey, link query, right? Link query. Hey, link query. What I want is, I want to look at the off. How about link query, not link query? Look what I did. No. It was by accident, all right?
I thought it was link query.
No, it's link query. It's my mistypingness. I'm standing up. Don't you remember? I wish I was, like, if I was sitting down, I can like type like a demon, but when I'm up, nope. Let's put a couple of these offs, and the first one is going to be a mouse over, and the other one is going to be a mouse out. So what is the mouse over? When my mouse is hovering over an object. Mouse out is when my mouse moves away from an object, right? That's mouse over and mouse out. Okay? Add CSS. Link query. Link query is going to be, let's change my text decoration style to a underline. Now, later on, what we might do is just use CSS. For now, I just want to make my stuff work, and that's why I'm doing it this way. I want to change my color to blue, so not blue or blue. So that means that links are going to be underlined and they're going to look blue. Yay, right? And then let's do the link events. Link query dot on click, and we're going to say that there's a function. Oh. And that function, what am I going to do when I click on that link? We're going to load link, right? So we're going to say load link. That's our magic function. We're going to use the template string, and we're going to inject the link data from the parameter. Okay? And let's just grab this on method, because we're going to do a couple more ons. How about on mouse over? On mouse over, what I want to do is I want to say, hey, for the thing that you return with this .css, let's change the CSS so that the cursor style, like we did on the navigation, is a pointer. And now you're going to say, wait, Tom, this is you're repeating. Yes, this is why I'm saying this function needs love. It needs some iteration. It needs some refactoring. but it's okay because it's going to work for us. That's all I care about today, right? And I'm going to say that this dot CSS, and we're going to say that font weight, let's just play around. Font weight is going to be bold when I hover over. Right, so it's going to be a bold font, something that we haven't had yet. And then I'm going to copy this, go down here, and then on mouse out, we don't care about the cursor, goodbye, but we do care about font weight. Let's make it normal again. So it's going to fatten up, make it bold, and then we mouse over, it's going to turn back normal again. And that is my really ugly, I don't like it, add link events method, which is very similar to what we did here, but differently specific, which I could probably combine these two and make one. That's my thinking. Or use use two, but then do some stuff with the other one to make it more reduced code. All right, so those are the four little functions that we added in. So let's control backtick and put those up on GitHub. So git add dot git commit -m, and we'll say added utility functions to support SPA on GitHub. Really, that's what we're doing. Okay. Bam. Now that we have those four functions, we're going to use them all over the place. Let's take a look at the first one, which is load header. In my load header, not only do I want to do all this, but I also want to add navigation events. Why? Well, let's think about this for a second. I load my header, right? And then as soon as I'm loading my header, my navigation events is going to trigger. So that means it's going to do all the events are going to actually turn on for everything. All right? So now if we just press save and turn it back over to this, and if I go over here and hover, I should see my hand now. See? My hand is back. Yay! Awesome, right? And it looks like we have navigation. In fact, you can probably do it. Look, you can probably navigate now. Look. Still works. But it's an illusion, right? Although we're doing it, this is actually not doing anything. We're just injecting. But take a look what's happening over here. Remember? We don't refresh. And remember what we did with our home page the first day? This is when we were learning jQuery and JavaScript. We said, let's just keep adding and adding and adding. Why is it always adding like this? Because we're never refreshing, ever. So we got to fix that problem. And that's our load header. Let's keep going. Load content. Load content is pretty good, all right? But what I want to do with load content is I also want to check login right about here. Okay, and why do we need to check login? Because remember what we do when we check login, we check to see if we're logged in, and if we are, we switch out the login link to the logout link, and we have to also now switch back. Because it's never going to switch back. Once we switch it, it's going to stay there forever. Why? We're never refreshing, right? So we need to manually work with that. So let's put that in there for future work we're going to do. Save. Load footer, nothing to do. Display home. Okay, this is the problem. So why is this doing that? Because outside of main, we're injecting stuff in the body. The body's never being updated. The body's actually retaining that forever. So once I add to the body, because I'm only injecting inside main with my load content, the body, anything we add to the body is going to stay there forever. And if I keep adding to the body, it's going to keep on adding one over and over again, right? So let's not do this. Let's move this to the main. And let's get rid of this class container from the article. This is just one of our first examples. That's why it's like this. So now if I go back here, it doesn't matter how many times I click home. It doesn't matter if I'm over here. It's not going to move that anywhere. It's only going to do it once. Display about, display projects, display services. No change. Add contact. How about that one? Add contact. No change, right? There's no hrefs. That's what we're looking. We're hunting for hrefs right now. Okay? Validate field. no change. Contact form validation, no change. Display contact page, So the display contact page, we want to use that nav link thing that I made, not the nav link, the regular link thing, but the contact page actually has a button, and that button is blue. And if I make it highlight when I go over it, it's going to turn the link underlined in blue. That doesn't make any sense. And again, it goes back to the idea that we have to fix that function, right? So we're going to actually do it manually. We're going to say, hey, I want to target an anchor tag with a data parameter that has contact list inside of it. Let's make sure that the inner we can make single quotes and double quotes. So single quotes inside double quotes. That's what we want, right? So that's what we want to do, right? Like so. So we're targeting that that link, and then we're going to call it off. Remember, we're going to call it off because we don't want to, because once we start adding it, we're going to add it forever, right? So we're going to get rid of it. And then we're going to add it back in. So if you've ever added it before, we're going to remove it, is what we're saying. And then on click, we're going to add a function. And that function is going to load link. In fact, what we want to do is, let's copy that load link contact list, because we're going to do this a lot. There's a lot of these inside of our code. Display contact page, it be done. Let's move forward. Display contact list page. Okay, now we're into it now. Here we go. Display contact list page. So far we're okay. There's nothing to worry about here. Until we get to about right here where we add button and location href. Guys, there cannot be a location href ever in our code. Ever, ever, ever. Right? So we need to replace those with a load link. But this one's a special load link. Right? This one here. Remember? So this one's going to be load link. And we're going to load in the edit. And we're going to pass in the data, right? That's going to show the add page. Remember, that's the data part. So we're going to say, remember how we did it before? We passed it with a hashtag. There's no more hashtag. Hashtags are gone, right? So that's the change we have to make to this part of our page. The add button gets a load link that has two parts. The link and the data that we're going to pass. We're going to use to identify that we want the add page, not the edit page. Button delete. Okay, on click, on are you sure? And then what we want to do is, we don't want to do this, we want to load link contact list. Load link contact list. I remember I copied that, that's why I copied it. How about this one? Button edit. Okay, this is a special load link. Load link. And now we're going to go to the edit page. And we're going to pass in this data right here. This is the key of my local storage data. But we can't do this. We're going to cast this as string because load link requires a string. And we can't guarantee that this is going to be a string because it returns either a string or a number or a string array or undefined. We don't know what it's going to do, what it's going to give us from the value, right? And now we can get rid of all this. We want to grab that load link contact list. Please copy that again because we're going to use it one more time, a bunch of times actually. All right, so that's display contact list done. Let's move on to display edit page. Okay, cool. Well, guess what? Do we really have a hash anymore? No. So this let page is equal to location hash. That's going to go away, and it's going to look like, here's a beautiful thing, router.link data. That's the first time we've used that. That's where we use it, right? We kind of add the data, and once we add it, we use it. And when we have the data, we know if it's an add or an edit. And we can do the same kind of switching that we did with our switch case, right? So that's all good until we come to this point here. We remove the location href and just replace it with load link. Replace this one with load link. I'm going to keep going down. This is the default case where we get a key from the local storage, right? And we're going to come down to the point where we need to load link. And load link. And by the way, if you're concerned why we're going back to contact list over and over again, it's because we're refreshing the page. So it's our way of refreshing the page over and over again. All right. Excellent. And let's move on. Display login page. Oh boy. This is new. And this is where we're gonna use our, I'd rather do a couple things here. First, I know that my display login page, if I look at my, by the way, if I look at my outline, just for a second, the outline is really a cool little feature of Visual Studio Code. What it does, it kind of sets up all your methods and functions all in a row. You can look at them, like here, take a look. And if you're inside of all of this, you can see where we are. We have our check login, and then we have a display register. I'd rather have check login before display register. It would be nice if I can just like drag this over here. Unfortunately, I cannot. But what I can do is I can copy this one. So copy display check login, or cut it, let's say, cut it, and move it before our display login page, please. That makes more sense logically. Right? So first we check login, and then we do some logging in and stuff, right? So let's take a look at that check login feature, right? So again, if session storage contains a user, then what do I want to do with it? Well, I want to swap out my login for logout. Yay, we did it, but it's never going to go back, ever. We need to put it back, right? Because remember, we never refreshed the page. So we're going to copy these 3 lines of code here, and we're going to go down after the session clear. We're going to pop that in there, and then we need to change this so it looks like a login again. Okay, save. Go back to here. Go to, let's find that content from our header. We have that header, remember? Let's not reinvent the wheel. I'm not going to type it again. I'm just going to copy this content right here inside the header, which we already have. Copy, kill the header, go back to here, and inside the template string, paste it in. Why? Remember again? I go there, I swap out when I'm logged in, I swapped out the login link for logout. But my page never refreshes, so it stays logout forever. It never goes back to login until I tell it to. And that's what I'm doing here. I'm telling it to change back. So swap out the login link for logout, swap out the logout link for login. Swap back, basically. Now there's an issue with this, okay? And I want to talk about it. Because we're not refreshing, here's something that's happening for you guys, just to let you guys know. If I have an event listener, and I'm just going to point to someone. I'm going to say point to Jacob. So let's say Jacob is the item I want to add an event to, right? And Jacob, I use my disintegrator from Star Trek, and I eliminate you. And you're gone, right? What happens to my reference? I had an event listener on top of Jacob, but then I destroyed him. What happens to my reference? It goes into La La Land, is what it means. It goes into the bit bucket in the sky. Point somewhere else, right? So if I do this, and I add an event listener to a login link, and then I destroy my login link and change it to a logout, that event listener is lost. Forever. I got to put it back, right? That's just the way it works. The same thing with the login. I got to put it back. So that's why we did that whole checking the nav links again afterwards. I don't have to do it here. I've already done that work. But I want to mention it to you, so if you ever have that problem, that's why we're having the problem, because I need to, I'm destroyed Jacob, and I need to put him back. Yeah.
For the login.html, just above it, when we swap out the login and the logout, it says href with the hashtag. Should I say that instead, or
No.
can I just say that?
No, because the href is not really doing anything. It's just a hashtag, so we can click on that thing. So it gives us someplace to a target, right? because there's nowhere it's going to go. Leave it alone is what I'm saying. We could remove it, but let's not. Not worth it. No, we could put data and whatever, but no. Right? And this is good. We've got this piece done. Everything's okay. And this can't be a location href. It's got to be a load link. Load link login. Why? Because we've just logged out, right? And we're just going to take us back to the login page. Okay, we're almost there. Display login page. Okay, now this is where we can use that new little ugly thing we did, right? Remember? The add link events. Add link events. And we'll pass in register. Because at the bottom of the login page, there's a register link. Again, I don't like this. It should be automatic. I shouldn't have to tell it what to do. I should call a function and it should be able to find all the links in the page, identify them for every link in the page, and then add them. That's it. Make them clickable, make them look nice, change my cursor, do all that stuff for any link in the page. So I don't like this. Is temporary. And we know we're going to use it again, right? We know we're going to use it again. Let's copy it. And let's go all the way down here to contact list and replace contact list. Okay, but actually this is a new thing. We're going to load link contact list. Because we can't have any href. Href doesn't exist for us. It's illegal now. We've zapped it with our guns. And here, load link home. Load link home. So effectively, I've just taken you through the whole journey, one href at a time, to make sure that it works. I'm going slow, although I'm not going slow because I'm changing all this stuff, and you don't know the effect of it yet. All right, cool. So we did this part, yay. And now we're in register page, and I want to do that special link, which is add link events, and it's going to be login. Because at the bottom of the register page, remember, we have that login. And guys, we're so close to being done. Like, I mean, really close to being done the modifications to our page. The only thing we have left, if I scroll down, we're not changing anything on active link callback. Everything's good. Is this part right here, where we're going to change our load content for the very first time. We're never going to call load content like this. We're going to use load link, right? Well, let's do it. For the very first time, let's load link, and let's take us home. Okay, Country Roads? There is a comment. Samuel says, I have an appointment, da-da-da. Okay, no problem. Thanks, Samuel. Makes sense? Yes. I probably missed it for a long time.
Yeah, mine was missing too, and I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah, it's just me mistyping and stuff. So, all right, so that's done. Let's test it to death. So let's go over here and let's test it out. So home works, about, our projects, our services, contact, login. You know what I really like about this one? It doesn't flash. Remember how it used to flash before and inject? It does it once. We never have to inject again. We already have the nav links. We never have to do it again. Once it's injected, it's there for good. Let's try and log in. And log in. Yay. Can I edit? Dr. Stephen Strange's? Yes, I can. Can I edit back? Yes, I can. Can I delete? I probably can. I'm pretty sure everything else works. All right, so that's all that stuff works. Let's look at, there's a log out, which is a good link. Let's make sure it turns to log in. Can I go to the register page? Take a look. That was that special effect I was talking about, right? I can do the register page. I can go to the sign in page, right? And if I go to the contact page, it's going to redirect me back to login. All good to go. What was that? You undid it. See? I used my disintegrator on you, and now that's it.
Yeah.
Right? So that's what it is. Right?
It's because when I did the bonus marker, it only showed the button which you were logged in.
Awesome.
just removing my code to do that after once we started going back to new ICs. I was like, I'm just gonna keep it.
See, yeah, I kept it. Fortunately, I just commented it out, so I just uncommented it and then commented the thing.
All right,
So,
let's put this up on GitHub.
I'm just gonna have to copy the comments. So.
Git commit -m, and we'll say finished modifying app.js to support. It's pretty long GitHub pages.
Yes.
Thank you. And then git push. Push that thing. Okay. So that is a good portion of your ICE for today, right? That's actually loaded and everything. Last part. This is the last thing we're going to do. Let's put it up on GitHub. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's do this, right? So what I'm going to do for GitHub is I already have a, there is a, let's go over here. There is a repo that I have locally, and it's called live site repo. Remember this one? We made the live site repo before. I'm going to kill it, right, completely, and start it over as if we never did it. Hear me out why I'm doing this. And then I'm going to grab my stuff that we just did, right? All that stuff we just did. And let's go into section 1, go into ICE 8, select all, copy, and go into my live site repo and paste. So I know that it's a clean copy of my stuff, no Git repository. And it's taken long because of all the node modules that I've got going on. I recommend a live site repo, right? Why? Because then it won't clash with the stuff you're doing for your lab. Okay? And once we're done this, we're good to go so far. I want to, instead of using my ICE in here, ICE is done, right? I'm going to take my live site repo and put it in there. And what I want to do, this clear. What I want to do here is initialize a new repo. So I'm going to say git init, git add dot. It's going to take a while because it's adding a whole new repository to it. It's indexing all the files in my node modules, and I want node modules up there because it won't function without it. Next week, when we start next week, we won't need to do this craziness. Okay, git commit -m, and this is the first time, so we're going to call this initial commit. It's going to do its thing. And now we need a brand new repository online. We already have one, but I'm going to delete it, like as if we're starting from scratch. So I'm going to go to GitHub Durham Programmer. I have my live site repo I've been playing with today. I'm going to delete it, guys. Wait. I'm going to go to the danger zone, and I'm going to delete my live site repo. So I'm going to take the live site repo name. You don't have to do this unless you have it already. And then delete it, and then add it back in. So that way I can prove to you this is going to work, right? So brand new repository. I'm going to call it live site repo. Make it public, please, right? And just create it. It's empty. I'm going to grab these last 3 lines of code, copy them, go back to Visual Studio Code, right-click, and paste and enter. And now it's going to put everything up on that live site repo. So my live site repo is going to be populated with the stuff from my ICE 8. Right? Let me show that. So here it is. And now the live repository. If you're doing this with me, you're going to finish your in-class exercise 8 right now. Okay? So the other thing that's left is your little video, and that's it. All right? So here it is. Look, take a look. Now you go to settings, and you're going to go to pages, and you're going to go to where it says none, to source, to main, save, and done. And now we're going to wait for this to regenerate, right? Right now it's still orange. Take a look at that little orange dot right here. That little orange dot means things are happening. Wait. Refresh. Still things are happening. Wait. Refresh. And you got to wait some time because sometimes it's just, busy, right, doing its thing. And if you really want to, you can actually click on that little orange dot. Take a look. If I click on the little orange dot, it's going to say, show me the details, man. Look what it's doing, right? It's got this thing and it's waiting for a runner to pick up the job. Because basically what's happening is it's competing with other people that are trying to build stuff. Hey, there you go, look. Woo, that's all that's happening right now. Okay? And if I go back, then it's deploying, it's pending. Still in progress. Okay. And done. Let's view deployment, and we're good to go. And let's try it. Let's log in. Let's not fool ourselves to thinking that everything's okay. What if it doesn't work? Log in. Let's add a new user. Add yourself, right? Uh-oh. Hey, that didn't work. Look, my add button is not working. Let's see what happened. Control-Shift-J. Failed to load resource. No, I don't care about that. So what happened with this thing? And now I get a 404. 404 is okay because you know what's happening, right? There is no contact list that it's trying to go to, see? So that's okay. I knew this is the limitations of this thing. And that's not how it worked in the last one. Of course it's not going to work, right? But you get the point. The point is that most of it works. Let's log out. Let's log back in. And let's try that out again. What is the problem with that contact list? We're going to fix that problem. Because it worked locally, why not remotely? What was that? We did it. I did it. Oh no, actually I never checked it locally. I never checked the add button. We never checked the add button. We checked everything else, but not the. We never added it back in, did we? This is the local one.
When you clicked add on yours, right? It didn't work.
No, not online. Not online. Let's see if this one works. Oh, that's not running right now. Hold on a second.
Because when I clicked add contact, it actually displays the contact.
Okay, well let's see what happens. Mine did not. So yeah, I know. Contact, show contact list, add. That worked. So that's weird. How come it worked here, but it didn't work online, on here? So here I'm pressing the button and it's not taking me anywhere. Look, it's not changing this up at all. So there's a disconnect between what I put up online and what I have locally, right? So how's that? How's that possible? Well, let's take a look at what I did earlier. So I also updated this thing for Durham Programmer. DurhamProgrammer.github.io. Try that. We should be able to log in and do it there too. That one works on Durham Programmer, and it takes me to edit. So something I did wrong there. Let's take a look. No, I'm telling you, this is how it is, right? So let's see what happened, and let's see what's happening. Something that accepted it locally, but it didn't like it remotely. It doesn't like it on the on this site right here for some reason. So, and I can't go there. I can't actually type it in. I can't say edit because the edit doesn't exist. Right? Remember? You can't do an actual. You can't do this. This is never going to work, right? And you can't go back either. Going back doesn't work either. There's no history, right? We can fix that, but not right now. There's nothing. So I can go here, and if I go to here, I can't seem to do anything with this button. Here alone, right? So let's inspect. And the way to do it is to figure out what's going on here, right? So we have an add button, and this add button is being worked on separately, right? And one thing to note is maybe I didn't transpile properly. That's possible, right? Or in my scripts that's inside my app.ts. I don't know if you guys, is it working for you?
Yeah.
Is it working for you guys?
I'm still fixing it.
Okay. So what is my problem?
That's what I want to know.
I want to know too. Some silly thing that I didn't do. So we know where it is. The problem is this add button thing here, right? So we can do some troubleshooting to figure it out. All right, so display contact list page, and then I come down here, and I'm going full name and the key value and blah, blah, and there's my add button, and I'm using load link. Here's my load link. I'm going to the edit page, right, and I'm clicking on add, okay? So something to do with this, right, because it's not working. And what does my app.js say? I'm sorry, I gotta check that too. So that's the one thing to do. Check what the app.js one does, right? So we can hunt for that same thing, display edit page, and let's see what it's actually doing. So router.link data, that's good. And let's go to display contact list. And then on add button on click, load link, add edit. Okay, edit add, edit whatever. This should work. Okay, let's go back to load link. I'm doing it on the JS side. I want to see what it's doing, right? So, okay, I'm getting data, router data link thing. I'm pushing state to that thing, but it's doing an auth guard. How about auth guard? Go to definition. Auth guard is going there. Router.activeLink is this. It looks pretty good. So, okay. It's been transpiled. What am I getting online? That's another thing I can check. So online, right? I can also go to console and take a look at this. Contact, I don't care about that. So let's go just back to this for a second. Where is that coming from? Failed to load. Okay, hopefully nothing. Gonna see what's happening now from now on, right? I want to click on this and nothing. Okay, cool. Let's put in router dot active link is contact list, right? And then what about the link data? Aha! Somehow my link data got lost, right? So when I'm clicking there, it's like it's not receiving an active link. It's not doing that thing. It's like it's been removed. It's like it's been removed. Okay. Let's go back to the drawing board and see what that problem is. But it wasn't being removed before. Control-Shift-B. I'm going to wait till it transpiles here for a second. All right. On, click, load link, edit. It's a bug.
When I was looking over what you had, it's exactly what I have.
Mm-hmm. I'm going to see what I have. Oh. Oh, I never took it out of here, in your case. In your case, I never took it out of here. Look, it's inside this if local storage thing. This should have been out long ago. I don't know what happened, but this add button should never be in here. It actually should be out here. That's weird that it works locally. Oh, because I have stuff locally. I don't have stuff remotely. This should be out here, guys. Sorry, this is an old bug that we never fixed. This should be out here. I just never did. Maybe because I'm moving from one computer to the other, I never fixed it.
Sorry, which one is this again?
This is the bug. The add button should be out here. It never gets to add button.
That's in which one?
That's inside of the display contact list page. That was a bug. We were bug hunting now. For you guys only. For the other groups, no problem.
Where was it?
So it was inside of inside the if statement. That's where it was. So there was a thing that was the add button. See that add button dot on? This one?
Would it be weird if I told you that it still worked even though mine's inside of the if statement?
Do you have any data?
Yeah.
That's why it works.
That's why. Okay.
And let's remember this because this is something we need to modify locally. So let's save this, save, and let's push this up. And that'll be the only bug we found. That's the only bug. But that's why we check, guys. That's what we check. We check because we want to make sure that there's no issues. So we're going to say git dot, git commit -m, and fixed add contact bug. Git push. And we're also going to fix our this is just our live site. I'm going to come back to this. I want to fix my other one too, which is my actual repo forever. Because we've missed this before. We've done this and we've missed updating you for some reason, right? So let's do that. I'm going to put it up on GitHub. ICE 8. And I'll fix that up there too. And I'll press Control Shift B.
Yeah, so I do have the login issue as well. I don't think we end up re-putting that link onto the page again.
Yeah. I'll come and see it. All right, so that is, yeah, that's a bug that's right here. So we're going to put that out here, and we're going to get rid of it over here. That's a bug. That's right. Okay, so now that that's fixed, let's check up online and make sure that it works. Well, you can't reload the page. That's the problem, right? And let's go to live site repo and make sure that it's redone. It is, right? It's done. Well, that's because you missed something. Because it shouldn't. Let's try it again.
Yeah, so when you can log in, then you log out, and then suddenly the link to go to the login page.
Log out.
Yeah, and then you see how like the pointer changes.
Yep, that's a bug. So why is that gone? Remember we talked about this? We've removed the link. We have to put it back, right? So how do we put it back? That's a bug, right? And we only found it online. That's fine. So I'm going to look at my ICE to fix the ICE locally first, and then I'll copy it across. So that must happen also locally. Let's do that locally. That should work. Oh, no, it doesn't. We never changed that. Okay, so that's another bug. So we found two bugs. Let's kill those bugs.
Always with the links because that's what we were doing.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. So that button is a button inside the display page, right? So we're going to go to app.ts. Let's make sure that we Control-Shift-B to make sure we're transpiling, right? We'll do that too. So we're transpiling for sure. And let's hop up to that particular link. So we're going to go up to, that's in the display, that's an easy one to fix. Display home page, there it is, right? And let's see where it is, right here. We just missed that one. Good catch. So this
I'm
is
glad I checked
load
the button.
link. Yeah, we didn't check it. About.
Maybe we weren't changing the location.href yet at that point.
I know, you're right. We never did that. We looked right through it. Okay, so that's that one, done. And now the other one is a bit trickier to diagnose. So it's a matter of, okay, let's go back up here and look at this. Okay, so we load our links, and then we call, we have an auth guard, right? And then what happens is when we click the login link, right? And we click logout, let's take a look at that logout for a second, right? So that is way down here. So we click logout, let's check login if I'm not wrong. Let's go to check login. Check login, that's way down here. Right, here it is. Check login, let's take a look at this. So we do the following, we say, hey, when we log in, we log out, and then we go log out on thing, we clear the session storage, and as soon as we do that, we say load link login. But when I do this again, load link to login, remember I just said it. We eliminated Jacob and we never put it back. We're pointing at something that doesn't exist anymore. We have to put it back, right? So that's the issue. And what you do is, so when we put it, now we have to be strategic on where we put it back, because we want to call the links again one more time. And I'm recommending after we do this, we just reset the links. So we call like add navigation events, because that's not going to do anything, right? What it's going to do is it's going to wipe them out and put them back. So once we swap out the link, that'll do it right here. And let's do that. This is local, and I got to do it locally first, and then we can do it online. Okay, and we're done. Then we're done for the day. So again, log in, admin, log in, and log out, and now we can click on it again. Okay, good to go. So now let's put it up online, because now we need to fix that online stuff. So we know where the issues are, right? And we're going to put these places, this add navigation events, and I could just copy paste the app.ts. That might be the easiest thing, guys, right in that little place. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to say that. Did I put this up on GitHub? Let's do that. That's important, because then we're going to go back and it's not going to be fixed later on, right? Fixed login bug. Nice. Okay, now that we've done that, thank you very much.
Giving the temp to watch the button works, but it's always saying login.
No, that's something else. Is it?
No, okay, mine says login.
Okay, good. Well, check it online. That's the best way to do it. So in class exercise, I want to grab my script, my app.ts, copy it, and then I'm going to go over to my live site repo and my scripts and paste it. But I got a transpile, okay? Let's transpile. So we're going to take that live site repo stuff and pull it in there. And wait till it loads. And then transpile. By the way, you can also, if you have problems transpiling, for those people who are online as well, you can do it with, instead of using a watch task, you can do it with like this. You can say TSC minus W, which does the watch task as well, right on the command line. TSC minus W, right? And let's check locally to make sure that it's all good. So again, we're going to check this locally. So we're going to do a light server here. This is the stuff we're putting up because we have two repos we're taking care of at the same time, just to make sure that it's working. This is like checking and checking again. Oop, I probably put the wrong password in there. Well, there we go. And you said that you couldn't, once you turned it, it became login forever. Let's log in again. So that would be bad. No, looks like log out again. Good. All right. So now that we're good, and now we're going to go back to here, and we're going to clear it. Git add dot, git commit -m, fixed login bug, git push. And that should be good on the turn on up on that. All right, so I think we're good. I think we killed all the bugs, right? And so that's awesome. So now we're able to work on GitHub. But, however, I have to point out some stuff, right? Which is the stuff that you've already noticed. If I actually tried to navigate manually online, so if I go to here and I navigate manually, let's suppose I just go there and press enter, it's going to give me a 404. Why? Because there is no home.html. That's still an issue. I can't put in anything on the thing. It's the same problem we had before. Next week, we're going to fix this problem because we're going to migrate away from GitHub pages because we're going to build our own Node.js server, right, starting next week. And here's some homework for you guys. Your homework is please sign up with Heroku. Okay, please do it today. Sign up to Heroku today, Heroku.com. Okay, if you haven't done it already. Heroku.com is a free cloud service that supports Node.js, Ruby, Java, PHP, Python, Go, Scala, Enclosure, and others. All right? But it does not support flat HTML sites. So that's why I haven't been using it for this first part. If it supported a flat HTML site, I'd be using Heroku all the time. But it doesn't. So again, the language of choice is Node.js. And next week when we come back, we're going to do this. So that's it for the in-class exercise today. If you look at your lab report, that's what it says. All the things that we did today is there. We've done everything. If you followed along, all you need to do is record your video and away you go. Again, this is all due tomorrow at midnight, so you have an extra day to get it done. Okay, so no stress tonight.
Extra day for me to fix my bug.
Exactly. Any issues, any questions? How about the people online? Are you guys good? Check marks. I got one check mark. David, anyone else check mark? I got Jacob. Jacob, are you check marking? And I got Cody. Right? Cody, are you check marking? Over there. Hey, Cody, thanks, Joe. Okay, guys. All right. Thank you so much. I'm going to say goodbye. For those people on YouTube, thank you so much for joining us. And we'll see you next week when we get into Node.js, which is the very exciting second half, really the second half of semester kicking in. All right. Thank you so much, guys.